First question is, who do you work and what do you do? I work for a company called Six Senses. They are a hotel management company, and I am their director of technical services for the Americas. And that means basically I get to work with the owners, the developers, the consultants working on the projects. By consultants, I mean the architects, the interior designers, lighting designers, landscape engineers, to build the project according to our vision as a brand, and according to our standards as well. Your second question is, how did you get started in your field? Well, I studied architecture. I only practiced of the last 18 years that I've been active professionally. I've only practiced a couple of years as an architect. You know, by reasons or by chance, I ended up having a job that was related more to interior design. And luckily, having been trained as an architect was a very easy transition for me, which I think would have been more difficult if I had studied interior design and I wanted to study architecture. So it was really by chance, and one thing led to another, and now I'm not necessarily working as a designer or as an architect. I'm working as a hotel operator, for which my background in architecture and interior design is incredibly helpful, and I think that's made my current professional life in a way much easier to adjust to, even if I didn't study to be a hotel operator. What skills and education do you require to be an architect? Well, I mean, obviously there's two types of university programs that I think can be defined as one that is more artistic, and the ones that are more technical or engineering or construction focused. And when I studied architecture, I was in a program that was more technical, although it had enough components to kind of fulfill my personal interest of, creativity and which was a good balance to the much heavier engineering technical aspect. So and skills, you kind of have to have, some people are very good, obviously, at drawing and at math. I'm not good at any of those things. I am good at, having a, understanding of space and how, space relate to each other, and I think that's also something that's very important. Obviously, the construction understanding is very important, and I think those are skills that I have, but they're not necessarily a requirement to have them all to be an architect. I think one thing about architecture is that it's a skill. I think that you have to be able to work with teams, and you have to be able to work in a very collaborative way, and I think that really is a skill that is developed by being able to, as I mentioned, being open and being flexible, and being open to be questioned and to be wrong sometimes. And that's, I think, the only way to learn and get better at it. What originally made you want to be an architect, and is it still the same thing? I've always been interested in storytelling or in narratives. Originally I wanted to be a filmmaker. I had always been interested in photography and in writing, but architecture kind of allowed me to have all of those, and also be able to build something physically, which obviously you don't do when you are making a movie or writing a book or taking a photograph is much more of a static thing. And with architecture, you are actually able to build spaces that are able to be very poetic and very creative, but they also are very pragmatical. They are schools or shops or buildings that solve problems for users, for people, and I think that's an important component of being part of uh, solving problems for society and communities. And I think that's also a very important part of why I became an architect and why I still love doing what I do. How does being an architect affect your lifestyle? Well, I think obviously architecture can be, or the construction industry can be very stressful and very demanding in terms of time. It's all about how you are able to manage all of that. And again, as I mentioned, a lot of it is being able to work together with teams of specialists or people that are around you that you complement their skills and they complement your skills. And it can be, as I mentioned, very time consuming. And but as long as you are able to be a good manager of your own time and manage people's expectations about your way of working, it's something that is part of that lifestyle of architecture. What are your tips for people who also want to be architects? That's a great question. I mean, I think try to pursue your interests, whether they are on the construction industry because maybe you like to build things, you like to solve problems, you like to engineer solutions, or be it because it's more about the poetic, artistic aspect, the creativity of being an architect. Do it for those reasons. Do it for the fact that you are able to have a very important change in cities or in environments that are in need of solutions, especially if you're in environments that are fragile, like ecosystems or beach areas or forests that, obviously you have to respect those contexts and those environments to be able to not be part of a problem and actually be part of a solution. So I think that's you have to embrace that responsibility, and which is more than just building something for yourself. You are creating a very important impact on the environment, and sometimes that's not necessarily a positive thing, because you are, uh, um, you know, sometimes you are affecting those ecosystems or those landscapes. And but as an architect, you have to be able to mitigate those impacts and actually steer them in a positive way for those communities and those societies. What do you enjoy about your job, and what is difficult about your job? Well, I think, as I mentioned, what I enjoy is why I became an architect, which is this notion of being able to tell stories through architecture, or to have a space mean something for people other than just uh, use it for whatever purpose they're supposed to use it, whether it's a school or a post office or a hospital. Those spaces should be able to evoke memories or stories, or some cases should be able to make you feel good because of the way the lighting is in that particular project, or because of the space that is very grand or very intimate. They create emotions in people, and I think that's something that it's an important satisfaction to be able to see those built. And what's difficult is that you never know really what the result is going to be until you build it. And sometimes when you build it, it's too late, and you know that you've made a mistake. And but you learn from that, and I think that's part of what's enjoyable about it, that you are actually able to learn quickly from from those mistakes and from those ideas that maybe didn't come out quite as well as you thought they would. And I think that's a big part of the uncertainty of architecture. No matter how you draw something, or no matter how much you think about something, no matter how much you use technology to simulate that environment, being able to experience it in person is very unique and very special, and it will never be, I think, replaced by technology. And I think that's something that's very enjoyable.